credit cards offered by American Express, it generally comes down to two cards. The American Express Platinum card and the American Express Delta Reserve card. And if you're choosing between the two, the decision is going to come down to status. Let me explain. Let's do a quick overview of the two cards. The Amex Platinum comes with a $695 annual fee, and for that fee, there are a bunch of credits that Amex will throw at you. You have a $200 fine hotels and resort credit, which is an annual credit. You have a $200 airline incidental fee credit. You get a Walmart Plus monthly credit for about $12.95. A $240 digital entertainment credit, which includes services like Hulu and ESPN. A $200 Uber cash credit, again broken down monthly. A $100 Saks Fifth Avenue credit, which is broken down into $50 every 6 months. $199 for Clear Plus membership, and access to lounges including the American Express Centurion Lounge, Priority Pass lounges, and Delta Sky Club if you're flying Delta or any of its partner airlines. And you can already start to see that unless you really love managing these credits, it's going to start getting exhausting. Let's quickly do an overview of the Amex Delta Reserve card as well. The Amex Delta Reserve card comes with an annual fee of $650. Let's talk about some of the things that can help offset that fee. You have a $240 Resi credit, which is broken down into $20 monthly. You have a $120 Uber credit, which is broken down into $10 monthly. And bear in mind that this is only for rides as opposed to the one that you get on the Amex Platinum card, which is both for rides as well as Uber Eats. And you have a $200 Delta Stay credit, which you get when you use their portal to make a hotel booking. Now, I've worked in marketing for a very long time, so let's talk about the audience persona that Amex Platinum is targeting. And the audience persona has 4 distinct elements. Number 1 is people who really care about this credit. And since there are credits like a $300 Equinox credit, which I didn't even talk about when talking about the benefits on this card, so you're probably talking about a user who lives in a city, like New York, San Francisco, or Los Angeles. So these are people who already go to Equinox or use their app. They don't mind shopping from Saks Fifth Avenue, and they don't mind going the extra mile to be able to use these credits. Now let's talk about the second element of the persona that fits the Amex Platinum card. And these are people who would either happily pay for a luxurious stay or from time to time don't paying out of pocket for a luxurious stay. And the reason I bring that up is because of the Fine Hotels and Resort. Now, most of the hotels that partner with the Fine Hotels and Resort program are on the higher end of the spectrum. But benefits like eligibility for upgrades, late check-in and check-out, and a $100 spa or food and beverage credit makes it worth their while. And the cherry on top is that it also gives you access to the hotel collections, which is a toned-down version of the Fine Hotels and Resort program. Let's talk about the third category of people who fit the audience persona of an Amex Platinum card. And if you dig a layer deeper into who this persona is, you're probably looking at someone who flies a lot for work like consultants. You're looking at business owners and people working in tech or finance who like taking leisure trips. And the reason the Amex Platinum card becomes a good choice for people in this category is because you get 5x MR points for booking flights either directly with the airline or through the Amex portal. And people in this category can earn a ton of membership reward points that can be transferred over to airlines as well as hotels. And the last category of people, and probably the most important, is people who love spending on their credit cards. It might be surprising to you, but a lot of Amex card holders aren't actually optimizing for multipliers and the amount of points you can earn. So they use their Amex Platinum card for everything. And that includes things like dining where you earn only 1x back on the card. Now let's do a similar exercise for the audience persona of the Delta Amex Reserve card. And in my opinion, there are just 2 segments here. Number 1 is people who care about Delta loyalty the most. Now there are some tangible benefits on the card like companion certificate and complimentary upgrades. By the way, if you only hold this card and don't have Delta status, don't expect an upgrade on a Delta flight. The other thing that this card enables you to do is to take steps towards your Delta status. And there are 2 ways you can accomplish that. Number 1 is that every year you hold this card, you get 2,500 MQDs, which is the only currency that matters in earning Delta status. Number 2 is that you can earn 1 MQD for every $10 that you spend on the card. Now this comes in handy for people who fly a fair amount, care about Delta loyalty, but want to make up the difference between their flying by spending. And the second persona that they're targeting are people who value simplicity a little more than the Amex Platinum card. Now don't get me wrong, the Amex Delta Reserve card also has a bunch of coupon-like benefits, but I would argue they're a little easier to use than ones on the Amex Platinum card. For example, the Delta Stay credit of $200 is a single-time use. And the same is the case with the companion certificate. Now I would have brought up the Centurion lounge as a difference as well, because unless you're flying a Delta marketed flight, you can't use the Delta Reserve card to get into an Amex Centurion lounge. The reason I didn't flag it though, because the Centurion Lounge in my opinion is no longer a differentiator. And there are two reasons why I say that. Number one is that most of the other card providers have also come out with their lounges which have been pretty good. Number two is that the existing American Express Centurion lounges have been very crowded of late. Which brings us back to what I said right at the top of this video, which is the decision between these two cards comes down to loyalty and status. If you are someone who cares about Delta status, there's only one way to go. Whereas if you are someone who spends a lot on your credit card, values luxurious experiences, values having a platinum card in your hand, and can use some of the credits that Amex makes available to justify the high annual fee, then the Amex Platinum is the way to go. Here's what I'll add as well. If you are in the camp where you feel like neither of those buckets make sense to you, well, that's great because you don't have to shell out more than $650 on annual fees for a credit card because there are other credit cards out there that can deliver on what your expectations are. Let me know in the comments below which of the two cards you would select, and I'll see you in the next one.